After months of haggling, lawsuits, and challenges, we now have a resolution to Pennsylvania's controversial voter identification law. Hello, everyone. I'm Bill Anderson, once again reporting for the Trudy Haynes Show. So, as I just mentioned, after several legal challenges, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court sending it back to a lower court, we now have a resolution in the controversial voter identification law. It has now been wiped off the books, at least for now. Judge Simpson put an injunction in place so this controversial law will not be in effect in the upcoming November election here in Pennsylvania. It remains to be seen whether or not the law will be put back into place going forward, but we do know that it is not going to be in effect, at least for now, in the upcoming election. You will not need photo identification unless it's the first time that you voted in the upcoming election. So that's a victory for many who are out there challenging it. We talked to one of those people, Congressman Bob Brady, asked him what he thought about the initial law and why he thought that it was a problem that needed to be wiped away.
I think it's wrong. I think it's a hardship. It's wrong for to have seniors and or even anyone for that matter have to get up and spend 5 and 6 hours to get a photo ID. I think it's a poll tax because the photo ID is free. But how about the gas? How about the car fare? How about the inconvenience? I think it's wrong to do that to the citizens.
The voter ID legislation was also gaining a great deal of national attention because Pennsylvania was being closely watched. The national president of the NAACP, Ben Jealous, spent some time with us explaining why it was such an important issue and why the nation was watching Pennsylvania so closely.
We heard Pennsylvania GOP Majority Leader Terza say quite clearly that this law was intended to ensure that Romney would win. And that's because it's intended to make life very difficult and make voting extremely difficult for large numbers of black folks, brown folks, students, and senior citizens. And virtually all of those are populations that Obama's surge voters came from in 2008.
The other major issue that we, of course, have been following very closely is the upcoming November presidential election here in Pennsylvania. Debate season has begun, and after the first debate, there were many people who were saying that President Obama did not have his best moment. Opinions varied, but many believe that Governor Mitt Romney may have stepped up and won the initial debate. We talked to a couple local elected officials to get their feelings about the debate, starting with the majority leader in City Council, Councilman Curtis Jones, Jr. Here was his take on the first presidential debate.
I think you can see the clear differences between Romney's vision for America and Barack Obama's. And I think as you looked at the meter of the undecideds, which was on the bottom screen, you can see what resonated with women versus men, what resonated with people by way of issues. I was surprised by some that education didn't score among men or women, that Medicare, Social Security did. And so as we see this issue-based debate crystallize, you can see why, not just on personalities, why you may not appreciate one candidate over the other, but on the substance, why you should vote for one over the other.
But not everyone was as encouraged and enthusiastic as Councilman Jones. Councilman Jim Kenney, also a President Obama supporter, just didn't feel that President Obama was strong enough in the initial debate. Here's what Councilman Kenney had to say.
I think traditionally the challenger against an incumbent president does well in the first debate. I love Barack Obama, but my biggest problem with him always is be the president, man. Kick some butt. Take somebody by the collar. I mean, he just seems like he just looked down at his notes and he took what Romney was throwing at him, and it's the same thing in his dealings with Congress. I mean, he's got to kick ass and take no prisoners sometimes, and sometimes he doesn't do it. I love him. I think he's brilliant. I think he's going to get reelected, but he just needs to man up sometimes and be a little tough.
So if we're talking about voter identification laws and presidential debates, it must be that time of year. It's going to be an exciting period to watch the Trudy Haynes Show. We'll keep you informed over everything that's taking place, the upcoming debates, and anything else that's relevant to your life, because that's what we do on the Trudy Haynes Show. Once again, the controversial voter identification legislation has been struck down. So for now, you will not need photo identification on this upcoming election day in November. I'm Bill Anderson, radio host for 900 AM WURD, reporting for the Trudy Haynes Show. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and have a great night.